What's up, y'all? Jeremy here again, doing another live stream for the protest today. I'm not working, so I'm doing this instead. There's not as many people out as there was last time, but so it's a lot more quiet, a lot less. There's no megaphones and stuff like that, so this looks more chill and probably up more of some of your alley. Maybe it doesn't look so crazy, so that's a good thing. But you know, let me know what you guys think about protesting. You know, if you want to be rude and mean, it's ridiculous, but you know, go on ahead. But you know, protesting is a big part of the First Amendment. It's what made America free. You know, it was our right to peacefully assemble. You know, obviously a right to work. You know, if you believe we have a right to work, well, the government's taking that away from you. And it's all fun and games right now while there's still food in the stores. But even though I haven't been out, I've been hearing that a lot of food is a lot higher than normal. Like meat, $9 a pound for the cheap meat. I mean, I pay $9 a pound anyway for grass-fed. I think everyone should, but I understand if you don't value it or you don't have the money. But you know, on that note, I recommend people stock up on some food, freeze it. If you've got a lot of room in the freezer, freeze it. You don't know what's coming. We have no idea what's coming down the road. This is unprecedented. We need to get production back. If you just look up food shortages coming. I've got a video on it, and more info is coming every day, suggesting food crisis, which could be catastrophic. And as I always point out, more people die from mass starvation caused by government than pandemics. So if we go with history, we need to be a little concerned about what happens when the food supply is not there anymore. And maybe, you know, if you're at home, whether you're working or not, might want to start asking yourself, do you have enough food if you go to the store and there's no food anymore? Something to think about. You know, I recommend getting a deep freezer, especially if you can get one cheap. Load it up with meat. If you eat meat, obviously, if you're vegan, load it up with nuts, cashews, walnuts, get fats. Load up on food, guys. I'm not saying it's coming for sure, but if you freeze it, it won't go bad. If you get non-perishable food like, you know, nuts, it's not going to go bad either. So better to have it and not need it, and need it not have it. No one knows what the repercussions are to shutting down the world economy. We've never had a world economy like this, where we get food imported from all over, where we get goods imported from all over, and we've never shut this large of a percentage of the economy down. So I think a lot of people, they're only thinking about saving lives by staying home and not thinking about the lives that will be lost in the future because of this, because they're not thinking about you know, things like who is packaging the food that I'm going to be buying a month from now, who's growing it. You know, these are things that people are overlooking, and they're very important. There's a reason why the First Amendment was a big deal, and we're all getting ready to get that lesson. Like the famous saying, those that don't know history are doomed or destined to repeat it, something like that. Well, it's going to happen. The reason why we put the First Amendment in the Constitution first is very significant. And we may not understand that now. We may value, you know, being protected from an invisible virus more. But if things go bad, and I think they will, I think this is just the beginning. If things go bad, we're going to start to realize why. Why it was so important to limit the size of government. Why it was so important to not have a government that can control you. Government is anti-freedom. They can't give you freedom, they can only take it away. So these are things that You know, these are principles that was very important hundreds of years ago. And we got caught up with our modern lives because of how great they are. You know, we've got TV to watch endlessly. And we kind of lost touch of the reasons why things like the First Amendment are so treasured. You know, why it was so valuable, why it was so important to create a country where we have the right to gather together. You know, it's pretty bizarre to tell people that they can't be with each other. Like someone recently, well, I think in Idaho, a mother got arrested with her kids. And they took her mother to jail and left her kids at the park. She's playing at the park with her kids. So, I mean, this is a pretty bizarre world. If you just look at that one incident, you know, mothers taking their daughters to the park, illegal now. And they will not only, you know, give you a warning or tell you to leave, but they will handcuff you and put you in a jail cell. They're going to kidnap you. So think about it. Which one's the real crime? And this is important. You know, we've got to have our morals be consistent. It can't say, oh, like, you know, we look back at, we'll say, prohibition. You know, it's silly that they didn't want to let people drink alcohol, you know, and look how bad that was. Well, it made sense to some people at the time, and people blindly enforced that. And now we know it's silly. Just like, you know, my whole life it was silly to me to arrest people for weed, but lots of people went along with it. And now people are waking up and realizing, maybe we shouldn't be throwing people in jails and making the taxpayer pay for it, you know, over $30,000 per year if you're in a California jail, you know, for something that doesn't hurt anyone. All right, so we have to have these are principles that sometimes, you know, depending on where you are in history, they may be right or wrong. Well, you know, was slavery wrong? Of course. Well, why did everyone go along with it? Because that's what the system was doing. That's what everyone thought. People think alike. They are followers. They're unable to think for themselves. And in the same way that slavery was just as wrong back then as it is now, it's also just as wrong to forbid people from gathering today as it was a year ago. These are fundamental principles of human basic rights. And there's a reason why. There's a very good reason. And I think we're all getting ready to find out. You know, it's kind of like when you have a kid or you're learning something. You can learn the easy way or the hard way. You know, and it's up to you. So, you know, ask yourself, as a people, do we want to learn the easy way why so many people died for our freedom? Why people like Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. We may not understand why, and I think the government failed on teaching us the why, which is how we got here. So we're going to have to learn the hard way. You know, and if you look up the word democide, you'll see death by government. Governments all around the world, all throughout history, have been very, very harmful, whether it was on purpose or on accident. But freedom is what created this country. Freedom created abundance. Freedom created the Industrial Revolution. The idea of freedom spread throughout the world. What I propose is like freedom 2.0. I think we can take it even further than what the founding of the U.S. was. But this all comes down to rediscovering what freedom truly is. And people, you know, we all know about it. We've all heard about it all throughout school. But I don't think most people really know what it is, to be honest. And so this is kind of like a wake-up call for humanity, particularly Americans. You know, we are going to rediscover what freedom is and why it was so important to people that lived before us. Unfortunately, we're going to have to go through it the hard way, because I don't think a little protest like this or the big ones elsewhere is going to be enough to stop these governments from controlling us. It's not. So what's going to happen? It's going to happen. You let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think is going to happen? What do you think is going to be the outcome? I think at first everyone thought it was going to be like a 2-week period, and then like everything's going to go back to normal. And I was calling early on saying, hey, look, this isn't going to be no 2 weeks. They're lying. They know it's not going to be 2 weeks. That's why they left it open-ended. They're already telling us it could be, coming back worse in the fall. They're saying this could be perpetual, like the flu season, an annual thing. Basically, this could be never-ending. Bill Gates thinks that we need to just continue the social distancing and the lockdown until we get the vaccine. So basically, it's like never-ending until we get the vaccine. And that's a whole other conversation. But the point is I knew this wasn't going away in 2 weeks. That's why I started calling this out. And I think more and more people are catching on. At first, everyone's like, oh yeah, 2 weeks from now, it'll be all right. No, as long as we stay inside. As long as we go inside, we'll be allowed out and everything be back to normal in 2 weeks. That's not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen no matter how well we all stayed inside. And don't even get me started on how ridiculous the way that social distancing is being enforced anyway. If you look at it all, you can tell it's arbitrary how they decide who is allowed to work and who is not. Think about it. None of it makes any sense. First of all, the governor in Florida yesterday said if you're under 50 years old in Florida, even if you get it, you have less than 1% chance of dying. Even if you get it. But all of us are affected. And people don't understand what these stimulus bailouts. Go and look up who bears the burden of national debt. Look into the economics of this, and you'll see that this, even if you don't get sick, you're going to be devastated by this whole thing. And that effect, I think, is going to become more and more apparent as time goes by. But already, with what's going on, I think people are starting to realize, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Let me tell you another thing that doesn't make sense. If you want less people in a store, because if the store is too crowded, it could increase the rate of spread. It doesn't make sense to shorten the hours of operation. If a store is normally open 12 hours, if you only open it for 8 hours instead, it's going to have more people in there per hour, which is more of a chance to, for the virus to spread. So the way that they're enforcing it doesn't make any sense. Not only is it arbitrary, you can go and get weed, which I think is still great, but you can't go and get a massage because you hurt your back. You can go and get treated if you say, oh, I got COVID-19 symptoms here in Orlando. But hey, if you don't, you better be dying, or they won't even see you. So there's a lot of things wrong with this that people aren't factoring in. They're not factoring in the fact that people aren't able to get the medical care that they need. The hospitals are empty. Hospitals are empty all over the country, all over the world. They're not full. The media lied. That's people are catching on now. Absolute proof, guaranteed. The media's lying. They're not. I mean, that even in New York, where it's supposed to be hit really bad, that ship that came in there had like 20 patients on it, or 2 patients or something, next to none on a giant ship. So they're not overfilling. We don't have a crisis on our hands because the death count is still so low, even though the numbers that they're giving us is inflated. So what is this all about? Is it the prevention of a future crisis? That's not what we're being told. We're being told that the crisis is here now. There is no crisis, folks. You guys, there's no crisis at all. In fact, there never was. So, we can argue about the details, but I think one thing we need to start thinking about is at what point are we going to start shutting this thing down in the future? Because they're already telling us that it can happen at any given day. Even if they give us all our freedom back tomorrow, a month from now or 2 months from now, they can say, hey, man, we're getting a lot of cases. We're going to have to lock down again. So we as a people need to start coming up with our own opinions and sharing them. We need to think about it. And there's no right or wrong. You may think the way my views are wrong, and I may think your views are wrong. But we need to be coming up with an opinion based on our own thoughts, based on our own analysis of when it's okay to shut this down, if ever. See, I believe that no person should have the right to take away your freedom, okay? Period. And I think that is unshakable. You know, there's no exceptions to that. There's no exceptions to this rule for a lot of very good reasons. So, you know, we should all be thinking to ourselves, and if you just go along with whatever the media says, then you're not thinking for yourself. We need to think to ourselves and decide at what point. Is it after 1,000 deaths? That's about what it was this time. After 1,000 deaths or something, the world's on lockdown? I mean, come on. More than 1,000 people die every day just in the U.S. from cigarettes. And the thing is we can't stop this invisible virus. If we could, it would be nice. We just go send someone to go do it. But we can stop the sale of tobacco. Now, I'm not saying that we should, but I'm just wanting you to get your thinking cap on here. Over 1,000 people die per day by tobacco alone, just in the U.S. And 1,000 people died from this virus, and they shut the world down. And you just say, oh, well, it's your choice. It's your choice to smoke. Well, over 40,000 people die in the U.S. from secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke. That's not your choice. 40,000 people every single year, secondhand smoke. And if we wanted to stop that, all we'd have to do is go to these manufacturers, and we don't even have to say, hey, you're not allowed to sell tobacco. But there's like thousands of chemicals in the cigarettes. It's not the tobacco that's killing you. It's all the chemicals it's laced with. And if you look at niacinamide, you know, nicotine, they're all related. They help deliver medicine or poison into the body by dilating your blood vessels, allowing things to flow. All right? So basically, if you were taking medicine, you know, and this is kind of done with ayahuasca ceremonies and stuff like that, they'll actually use a little bit of real tobacco and smoke it. And you know, but if you use it with a cigarette, and you're basically using that tool to drive in thousands of chemicals. And this is completely legal, and it kills lots of people. Like I said, over 1,000 people in the U.S. today. This has been going on my whole life, and no one cares. What about those people? See, you guys think I don't care. No, I don't mean you guys, you know, but obviously a lot of people, you know, say things like they just assume, you know, if we're out here not social distancing, we don't care about other people's lives. Well, that's not true. You know, what I'm wondering, if that's the way you think, what I'm wondering is, do you care about the 1,000+ people that die just in the U.S. every day because of tobacco? I don't hear no one telling them, shaming them, hey, you know, you kill people. Did you know secondhand smoke kills over 40,000 people a year? And look it up. These are CDC numbers. These are the official numbers from the CDC. Over 40,000 people die from secondhand smoke just in the U.S. I haven't even been following the numbers because I've been trying to enjoy myself. But do we even have a fake death count of 40,000 people in the whole world from COVID-19? Let me know in the comments below. If so, it's not that much higher. And everyone knows that they're inflating the numbers. The deaths that they are counting aren't all COVID-19 deaths. In fact, I mean, I don't want to say a number of what percentage I think really are, but let's just say it's a low percentage, all right? A low percentage that we know for a fact, right? We'll never know the truth. We'll never know an accurate statistic. So again, go back and ask yourself, at what point are we going to allow our government to take away all of our freedom? Is it when we have 1,000 deaths? Or as long as some computer guy comes along with a computer model that says, hey, this could be dangerous? Are we going to let his computer model shut us all down and take away our freedom? Come on. I mean, how easy would that be to take over the world? Write some software like Neil Ferguson did and not let anyone see the code. Just hide it. It's like secret software, and then say, hey, my secret software says if we don't take away everyone's rights, people are gonna die. Are we gonna is that all you gotta do to take over the world? Pinky and Brain could have came up with some fake ass software to take over the world. It's ridiculous. Are we gonna let that happen? At what point are we gonna let them take away all of our freedom? And we need to all think about this and talk about this. This is where the discussion needs to go. And we can have different opinions. In fact, I mean, maybe we should have a poll. Why not have a poll? It doesn't cost anything. You know what I mean? Like, the whole country, you know, everyone who wants to take part in it. It could be, you know, cvpoll.com or something like that. And people just voice their opinions. And then use those opinions to help, you know, at least have some say-so. Because right now, our political leaders, they're doing whatever they want. They're not asking us what we want to do. They're not seeing what we want to do. You know, they're giving us lies and fake computer models, fake secret computer models that have already been proven to be very wrong. And they're using these lies to scare you. They're using fake news to scare you. They're using secret computer models to shut down the world that have since been shown to be false, and they just make adjustments. Are we going to allow this? What about Bill Gates? This guy, I mean, okay, let me back up. Johnson & Johnson is being charged with creating 1 billion vaccines for us. 1 billion. That's 1,000 million. It's a lot. It's far more people than all the people in the U.S. Just one company. You may say, okay, well, what's wrong with that? Look it up. Just recently, within the past few months, you know, within the past year, Johnson & Johnson, it came out. The truth came out that they knew that the baby powder they've been selling, you know, everyone knows Johnson & Johnson baby powder with talc has cancer-causing chemicals in it. So what does that mean? They knew they were using chemicals that cause cancer, and they hid it from the people. This is internal documents that show this. This is a fraudulent company, and Bill Gates is behind it, and they're trying to produce 1 billion vaccines. Bill Gates wants to vaccinate every single person and use this as an excuse. And go look at my video that I did on Bill Gates about the people, all the, you know, tens of thousands of people, kids that were paralyzed by his vaccines over in India. Look at the other pharmaceutical companies that make, I ain't even got to name Merck, GlaxoSmithKline, you know. Look up vaccines, see who manufactures it, and then type in the name of the company and put fraud. You know, pled guilty to fraud. Look that up. Look this stuff up. Don't even listen to what I'm saying. I've got all this content out. I put in my time doing the research. I know what's up. But literally, these people, these companies that are supposed to be making vaccines to save us have all been caught lying and harming people, knowing it caused harm. They've all committed fraud. Find me, how about this? If you don't believe me, find me a pharmaceutical company that has never committed any fraud, that has never been deceptive about the safety or efficacy on their products. You know what I'm saying? Look into this stuff. See, the thing is we have to consider what the solution is, where this is all going. And I can tell you it's not going well. I can tell you it's not going somewhere pretty. Because all you got to do is look at the people with the solutions. Look at these companies. Look up Johnson & Johnson baby powder, you know, court case. It was all revealed in court documents, internal documents from decades ago. This is all public information now. You would think the thing is they should actually be put out of business, but they're not. They use all these legal ways of keeping in business. You know, if you're creating a product and you commit fraud, you should no longer be able to sell that product, create it. But they have all these umbrella companies with subsidiary companies, sister companies, to bypass the laws. These people are above the laws because they write the laws. How do you know they write the laws? Because they lobby. Big Pharma is the biggest lobbying group there is. Why would they lobby if they didn't get something for their lobbying dollar? Right? That would be throwing money out the window. Do you lobby? No. Because you don't have no agenda to push. Right? Do lobbyists come to you and offer you money? No, because you can't force people to do shit like the government can. So there's the problem. Literally, the people offering solutions are fraudulent organizations that are making these vaccines to save us. Vaccines have never been shown to be safe nor effective. I go on forever about that, but that is a different topic. I've got lots of videos on that. It's all a lie, guys. It's all a lie. And the censorship is at an all-time high because people are waking up. People are realizing the truth. Del Bigtree just did a Freedom of Information Act on the CDC, asking them to provide all the studies that they use to make their claim that vaccines do not cause autism. They couldn't list one. They couldn't list a single study of the vaccines that Del Bigtree listed like 8 vaccines or something. They don't have a single study. And yet, they'll tell you straight up to your face that the science is settled. That's the end game here, is to push vaccines. You know, a lot of people are not taking as many drugs because they're realizing that they don't need it. There's lots of alternative methods for treating yourself. It's getting hard to sell the drugs. Vaccines, they don't have any liability, because in 1986, Big Pharma convinced government to shield them from liability. Now, if you get injured or your child gets injured from a vaccine, you can't sue the pharmaceutical companies directly. You can't. Because in 1986, they went to the government and said, hey, you know, we got to work something out. The Supreme Court ruled vaccines unavoidably unsafe. Remember that word. Remember that word. Look it up. Google it. Vaccines unavoidably unsafe. So they, in the courtroom behind closed doors, when you don't have a say-so, when you're not paying attention, they say, hey, vaccines are unavoidably unsafe. Therefore, they protected the pharmaceutical companies from liability. But the thing is if they are safe, why do they need shielded from liability? They're not safe. That's how they got it. But so legally, they're unavoidably unsafe. But do you hear that in the media? No, you don't hear that. You hear that they're safe. You hear that they're great, they're effective. This is a marketing campaign to push vaccines. Bill Gates has his hands in everything. Dr. Fauci is on, he's one of the leading members, the directors of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You know, he's testing. He's got his own model. You know, so he's got his hands in everything, from the model to the testing to the vaccines to he's the largest funder of the World Health Organization. Now that the U.S. Decreased their funding, I think he's probably the largest now because it was the U.S. That was funding them before, was the #1 funder. He's literally has his hands in everything. This man has a history of population control interests. Look at the people who's running this thing. Look at the companies involved. Follow the money, as they say. And ask yourself, do you trust these people? Would you let these people watch your children? Because I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, I even saw a picture yesterday with Bill Gates administering a vaccine. I mean, it was an oral vaccine, you know, in some third world country. Not only is he promoting vaccines and funding them and researching them and predicting the pandemic before it happened, doing simulation drills right before it happened with Event 201. Not only is he doing all that stuff, but he's also literally putting the vaccines in the kid's mouth. Isn't that weird? It's a little weird. He's not a doctor. People don't question that. They question me because I'm not a doctor. But they don't question him. This guy has computer background. If you look up and you watch my documentary, Pan Deception, you'll see the connection with computers in the Holocaust. They were using computers to basically create barcode numbers, you know, for inmates or whatever you want to call them. This is the origins of the computer. And now we've got Bill Gates who is going to be using this computer technology to enslave us. And you can go and watch the video I did on the 2010 Rockefeller document. And you'll see that's what they want to do. They want to govern us using technology. And what do you see over in China? You see, you know, government using technology to control them. Well, Mark Zuckerberg now is banning Facebook groups that promote these kind of events. Why? Why? Because these are tools to oppress us. And it's never been more obvious than it is now. These are tools of the powers that shouldn't be. That's why they're censoring the conversation on YouTube, on Facebook. They don't want alternative views out. You know what? How about this one? Here's another thing I talk about regularly. Where are the debates? Shouldn't we be talking about this and hearing both sides on TV? Shouldn't we have intelligent conversations constantly on live TV, discussing different options, different ways of going about this, different solutions? Shouldn't we be hearing this side? They obviously don't want people knowing this side of the story. They don't want people thinking very much outside of the box. And that's what this is all about. You know, think about it. If you were wanting to control a population, one of the best things you can do is make them afraid to gather in groups. Because, you know, if they were to come and start doing whatever, something that we don't approve of, being in large groups is our best protection. You know, because then if something happens, other people see it. And maybe they'll be there to protect you, hopefully. So, you know, the thing is it's such a complex issue. There's so many angles on this thing that, you know, you have to just stick your head in the sand in order to go along with it. You know, anyone with a free-thinking brain can look at this and see something ain't right. Something ain't right. The other pandemics that we've had, you know, even like the swine flu and stuff like that, we had more deaths and we never locked down. And guess what? It came and went like all the other ones. It came and went. But, you know, I think this whole thing was planned. I think it was planned. There's a lot of reason to believe this whole thing was planned. First of all, I did a whole damn documentary on it showing that the conspiracy theorists called it. I mean, in shocking detail. Over 10 years ago. So you want proof that I knew that this was coming? It's right there in my documentary. I show you. I've been talking about it all these years. The economy was going to crash anyway. They're using the last bit of this money printing power that they have. You know, they're going to debase the currency, create all this money because it's just made out of thin air because it's a fiat currency because we went off the gold standard in 1971 anyway. So they're going to debase this currency and they're going to use that to grow the power and grow their mass surveillance state and basically take away our freedom. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about control. It's all about control. It has nothing to do with the virus. These people don't care about saving any lives. Think about it. Here's another thing to think about. Listen to this. Really think about this. If 1 million people per year died in airplanes, how would you feel about that? And the government did nothing. Would we be scared to get on an airplane? Probably. All right? If 1 million people per year died in an airplane, we would say this is a problem with the airlines. They need to do something to make the air travel safer. Well, guess what? Over 1 million people die on the roads each year. And guess what? No one says anything. The government is in charge of the roads, and 1 million people die on the roads each year. If that was an airline company, we would be ready to sue them. There'd be a class action lawsuit. But government creates roads because they have a monopoly. 1 million people die per year just on that one government program. But we can't sue the government because of the roads that they built, like you can an airline. company. Literally, just one government program kills over 1 million people per year. The roads. And we want these people in charge of our health care. We want to trust these people. We think that they know how to fix it. They're the solution. I love saying this. The government is the problem, not the solution. The government is not the solution. I want to thank everyone who's been making positive comments. I see comments from Italy. That is awesome. That is awesome. You know, we're going to all fight this thing together. This is not a problem in one country. This is not a left or right thing, or this country or that country. This is a global problem. This is a global movement because they are creating a global government. You see, the world leaders all around the world are calling for a one world government. They're saying this is a global problem. We need a global solution. This is a global takeover. That's what this is. Not a pandemic. Disguised as a pandemic. Isn't it convenient that the enemy is invisible? There's no proof of it. The proof that they're showing us is fake. Isn't that interesting? Again, I want to remind y'all, go watch out my documentary if you haven't yet. It's called Pan Deception on my channel, the Awareness Revolution. It deleted my channel a couple years ago, and it have been shadow banning me now. So you're gonna have to like find it. Maybe I'll put a link in the description below when I get home. But it explains a lot. It shows a lot. Right now you have time. You have a lot extra time on your hands. Start looking into this. Even if you think it's crazy. Even if you think my views are crazy. Watch my documentary and see. I can't be too crazy if I called all this stuff. You'll see even the videos that I did on the coronavirus 2-3 weeks ago. That stuff is coming true. That stuff is coming true now. Everything that I said. So there's your proof. Watch my documentary. Watch my videos. See how well they age. And you'll see. I can't be too crazy if I get this many calls right. You know? But use the time that you have to look into this. Think for yourself. Like exercise your mind just in the way... You out of here? Yeah. See you. Thanks, man. Exercise your mind in the way that you exercise your body. Go and learn. Look up democide. Learn about government causing death. And you'll see that government is much more scary than a virus. The worst this thing can do is kill you. I mean, it can make you sick, but that's temporary. The government control is permanent. Maybe not all of it, but I bet most of it. You know, go and look. Go look it up. Look at the emergency laws that were passed because of 9/11, and see if they get renewed every year. Every year we're in a state of emergency because of 9/11. They renew it every single year. Because then that gives them more power. Hey, we're in war, and it's a serious situation, so we get more power. Well, what was the Constitution? It was designed to limit the power of government. That's what it was supposed to do. Did it? No. I mean, for a little bit, but they were already arguing over it like, what, within 10 years of creating it. They were already arguing about what the hell it's supposed to mean. I mean, it didn't take long. Now it's been so long, people really don't understand what the hell it meant. You know, the Supreme Court just make it up. Because you can't have government in charge of limiting the government. Government wants power. It's power hungry. And if you look over time, what's happened is we get more and more laws, which means less and less freedom. So this is just another step in that direction. Another step away from freedom in the direction of tyranny. It's obvious. It's obvious. I mean, look at Sweden. Sweden didn't lock down. They don't have no crisis. And again, this is all written about in a 2010 document. People still, this morning, making exact comments that I was pointing out in my video on the Rockefeller document from 2010. They're saying the same thing that's in the document 10 years ago. This is all, it's like reading a book. It's all right there. It's all right there. I encourage everyone to think for yourselves. Even if you think the virus is scary and you're scared for your life, still think for yourself. Research it. Watch the videos on my YouTube channel. If you think vaccines are good, learn about it. Learn other people's viewpoints. because like I was saying, you know, I think I got off topic about the debate thing. One thing, if you notice, vaccines, find me a good debate about vaccines. There isn't one. Right now, you can go and find good debates about whether or not Jesus existed and everything, all kinds of things. Try to find a good debate on vaccines. I haven't found one yet, and I've scoured the internet. The people that want to force vaccines on everyone, including babies, on the first day that they're born, they are not willing to take the stage publicly and do a live debate. Because you know what? The truth is with us. The science is on our side. And the only way that they win this war is by keeping people ignorant to the other side of the debate. The other side of the debate. If everyone knew why people don't vaccinate, they wouldn't vaccinate either. Everyone thinks there's all kinds of safety testing. There's not. There's not. Why aren't they willing to debate it? If it's that easy to win the debate, then let's do it. There's been, you know, anti-vax groups that have spent money on advertising on billboards, challenging them, offering to pay them to debate, like Paul Offit. Offer to pay him, whether he wins the debate or loses. I think it was $10,000, and they were putting up billboards all over, offering him $10,000 just to debate his public policy. See, what they do is they make videos, and they send it out through all their corrupt news networks, but they won't debate it. That's how you know they're lying. Because if people hear the other side, and they actually have someone that's intelligent and knowledgeable to give rebuttals on their lies, everyone will wake up. If everyone watches one damn debate, the whole world would change. But guess what? They won't debate it. It would be like a boxer that's never fought before saying, I'm the best in the world, but then you got people lined up to fight him, and they're afraid. You know, this guy, oh, I'm the best boxer in the world, but I just don't want to, I don't want to box. Look at fluoride. Find debates on fluoride. There's a few of them. I've only found one that was really good. They dump it into our water. Even if you have a water filter, if you drink fountain drinks, if you drink concentrated drinks, if you eat bread, you know, it's made with water. Find debates on fluoride. I'll tell you what, I bet you can't find one good debate where the proponent of fluoridation, water fluoridation, wins. I've never seen it. They won't debate the issues. Paul Conant is traveled around offering to debate anyone. He's only had, last I heard, like 6 or 7 people brave enough to debate him. And a few of them are online, recorded. And this is over the course of whatever, 20 years he's been doing it. So why are they forcing these things on us, like fluoridation, like vaccination, telling us that it's good, pretending like the science is settled, but they're unwilling to have a live debate? Now, how does this connect with what I'm saying? Where is the debate? I haven't seen anything. If you guys know of a good debate on whether we should shut this place down or not, send it to me. Put a link in the comments below. See, someone posted a statistic, basically a 0.002% chance, this and that. I mean, the numbers are so low, it's ridiculous. And they're inflating the numbers. So this obviously isn't about a virus. People, wake up. If it was, we wouldn't be out here. I mean, there's kids out here. People wouldn't be bringing their kids out here. We're absolutely positive. And you start talking to these people, they're not people that just get their information from the news. I bet I started asking questions. These people know what's going on. They know the facts. That's why you can come out here and not be scared. If you know the facts. And the fact is, there is no damn crisis. There's only tyranny. Only oppression. Lies. The thing is, this is business as usual for government. The whole thing is a lie. I think the whole thing of government is a scam. It's never been more feasible to run the world without some ruling class. We have decentralized technology, like blockchain technology, that could be instituted to do everything that government is supposed to do, but without being vulnerable to corruption, because computers do what you program them to do. So think of the timing. The economy was getting ready to collapse anyway. The CDC is being exposed through Freedom of Information Acts, showing that they don't have a single study showing that these vaccines do not cause autism. Not one study. Government's going broke. People are realizing, like, we don't need government. We've got technology now that can make government obsolete. So what do? They spend the last little bit of printing power that they have to enslave us. And if we let them, they'll be successful. And that's what this is about. That's what this is about. We have the tools to be more free than ever before. We have the tools to create abundance beyond what we can imagine. And the government doesn't want us to have that. It's like this: when you're a kid, you need a parent to overlook you, to supervise you, make sure you're safe. But once you grow up and you don't need that supervision anymore, you're free. Government wants you to think that we need them. We have to have this ruling class that can take whatever they want out of your paycheck and do whatever they want. They take the money out of our paycheck and then use that money to enslave us. And people, more than ever before, are realizing that it's a scam. And that's why they had to do this. It's the last call. They have to get their grip on humanity before too many of us wake up and they lose their opportunity. They're seizing their opportunity, and right now is your time to seize the opportunity. This is our time. This is our generation's time to earn the freedom that we've had our whole life. And if you don't do anything about it, if a year, 5, 10 years, this is a 10-year plan for them, by the way. You guys think this is going to be over? Mark my words, this ain't going to be over in a week or two or a month or two. This is a 10-year plan. It's all written in their document. It's all written in their documents from 10 years ago that this was going to happen. They still have documents 2030. Look up 2030. Look up no person left behind, plan to vaccinate every human being on the planet. These are goals these people want. They want to vaccinate everyone on the planet. Before this happened, what's their solution? Vaccinate everyone on the planet. These people have written about all of this in their documents before. This should not be a surprise to anyone. If you're surprised, it's because you haven't paid attention. You've been going on about your life. While everyone's working and doing their things, I'm at home researching this stuff. Not just now, but before this happened. That's why it was so easy to predict it was coming. Not because I have a crystal ball, but because these people openly talk about their plans. They openly talk about their agenda. This is a 10-year plan, and they're taking their opportunity to seize this moment. And I'm warning you, mark my words, if we don't stand up, if we don't fight for our freedom right now, in 5 or 10 years, this will all be gone. Just in the same way, a few months ago, we took for granted, that we could go outside, we could go to music events, we could have funerals for our family members who just left. But buddy I just came out with, his dad just got buried today. Couldn't even have a funeral. These things we took for granted our whole lives. And now they're gone. And this is just the beginning. And it's not me telling you that. They're telling you that too. They're just not letting everyone in because it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So they're leading people on just a little bit. Oh, 2 weeks more, 2 months. If we don't fight up, if we don't stand up for ourselves now, you can't be complaining 5, 10 years from now about any lack of freedom. Because right now is the time, guys. Make me proud. Share this. I dump my heart out. Share this. Keep in touch on, YouTube, Facebook. And as long as we still have this technology to communicate with each other, there's hope. But I don't know how long it's going to be honest. They're already telling you they're censoring all this information. They're openly telling you that. So while we still have the ability to communicate with each other, the freedom to speak our minds, use it. Because like we know with muscles, you either use it or lose it. If you don't use your freedom, you will lose your freedom. And right now they're testing you to see if they're going to let everyone's just going to lay down and let the government become the terrorists that they always were. Except now they're not secret about it. Now they're not hiding in the shadows. They're letting their tyranny show. We were telling you, hey, the government is evil. They've got these evil plans. And that was a crazy conspiracy theory. Now here it is. It's here. And people still don't want to believe it. But it's all right there. Now I understand no one can spend, 12 years. I've spent the last 11 years researching this stuff full time. I know that's not practical. But you do have more time on your hands now. I encourage you to use that time to steer the ship in the right direction, because the fate of humanity is resting on you. And you're going to always look back at this time, and you're going to either be able to say, hey, I was on this side of the fence or that side. Just like if you were to talk to someone from Nazi Germany. Where do you want to be? What side of history do you want to be on? Do you want to be one that fought for freedom? Or you want to be one that was afraid and self-policing other people for being brave and fighting for what's right? And there's no right or wrong, guys. It's up to you. The choice is yours. Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. Thanks for watching.